Right, so here we are with oh, here I am with Sam here, and we are here towards this Smash tournament.
You're going first.
哇！
去北锣鼓巷，请用2环，因为我们想去北锣鼓巷北口的地方。北口很近的地方。
我就不进去了啊！
我肯定
要到门口。
你肯定不进去北锣鼓巷，很麻烦。
对对对。
What is Super Smash Bros? Well, Super Smash Bros, also commonly known as Smash, is a fighting game made by Nintendo, with players choosing their favorite video game characters and then beating each other up with them. Nintendo developed this game to be a casual, exciting party experience, but it soon became competitive in circles mainly in America, Europe, and Japan.
每当你的对手打你，或是说有什么东西撞到你，这个就会让你的那个 percentage 提高。下次有什么人打你，或是有什么别的东西撞到你，你就会飞得更远一点，那个 knockback 就会更多。当你的飞得多远，就离开那个stage 的箱子，因为其实每个 stage 就是一个箱子吧，你就死。
Beijing, the capital of China, is a city of 20 million plus people located in the north of China. With its huge population and rich culture, it attracts populations from all over the world. Amidst the bustling city, a Smash community is born.
I'm Wilson. Hi, I am, unlike most people, I'm pretty stuck on only one of the Smashes, and that's the 64 Smash. That's about all I do.
That's not quite true. Wilson is owner and founder of Rager Pie, a cozy award-winning cafe in the heart of the Beijing Hutongs.
So growing up, I only had a 64, and after my parents bought it for me and my little brother, they immediately regretted it and decided to not get us any more games. So it wasn't a 64, it was a Smash 64 machine. That was the only game that we had. I moved to China when I was 19, I guess, 18, 19. And for whatever reason decided to bring it with me. So I brought it with me, and then it has existed in the households that I've lived in over the years. The most memorable of which was 3 years living in a kind of a bachelor pad-like place with 4 dudes, and we all had to wake up every single morning at a certain time, and how we would make sure that all of the rest of us woke up would be to go into the living room and blast the machine as we turned on the Smash game, and that would kind of be our alarm that one of us was responsible for.
It would be around Wilson that the Smash 64 scene would grow. China has the largest video game market in the world. Its PC game sector alone was worth $6 billion in 2016. Games such as King of Fighters, League of Legends, StarCraft, and Warcraft have been dominating the gaming culture here. Why isn't there a culture of console gaming in China?
Like, a lot of people bring over their own consoles here, and that's what I like about Smash. Like, people, they're like, oh, I'm going to be living somewhere for 6 months, you know, as a student. Better bring my whole rig. A lot of people, they brought over their Wii U's or their GameCubes or their Wii's. It's still pretty much, I'd say like, I wouldn't even say 99%. I would say the Smash scene here is 100% foreign players, just because it's not like something like Street Fighter or King of Fighters or like one of those competitive games that has a long history or a much longer history of being liked in China. Smash is really it's like the people who grew up playing it, you know, back in the late 90s, early thousands, and that's just all foreign people because Nintendo was not a thing here in China at the time. So it's still a foreign dominated scene, and I look forward to getting more Chinese people involved if they like the game.
The major reason console gaming culture in China is in its infancy is because in 2000, the Chinese government banned all production and sales of gaming consoles. It would be the arcades and the internet cafes that people would turn to for their video game needs. At the beginning, these smashers were unaware of each other. In 2016, the smash scene was pretty much scattered in Beijing. During those times, Melee was led by Danny and Max, with Smash 4, Rod, Sam, and RC, and the 64 scene, Wilson and Chris. But through their love of the game, they found one another and started playing in each other's apartments in small group settings.
Oh, all right, you convinced me. My Falcon's even worse than my Ryu, but let's go. I'm Sam, and I came to Beijing just for, I don't know, to live abroad, and I studied Chinese before, and I wanted to try all these new and interesting things. And what brings me to Smash is because I love the game, and everywhere I live, I try to get involved in Smash, or just even have people over to play.
Just like normal Smash play. No, can I watch some like Smash?
Wrong way, idiots, is over here.
For the shot, you ruined everything!
Somewhere around last summer, after Dale moved to this new 8-bit location, which is completely awesome, I started getting people together, and we ended up doing a very small, just really kind of like casual Melee thing. I remember I wasn't even able to get challenge working, so we just had to write the bracket out like on pen and everything. It was a very low tier tournament, but it was still a lot of fun, and so I made a WeChat group for that. And then we just kind of slowly started gathering momentum, and it was a really convenient way to ask people to come over to play or see who was hosting what. And then Danny was able to start getting people over for Melee at his awesome setup at his place.
Tucked in this tight hutong was the answer to how the Smash scene would grow.
Chris was able to get a bunch of people for this awesome 64 tournament.
So I said, okay, I'm gonna go to 8-bit, I'm gonna check it out. I came here and it was just awesome because the night I came, there were other 64 players, Smash players, and that night we just decided to make a mini tournament, and we asked some people in the bar to join in. We actually had 16 people join into a mini tournament, and it was disorganized and it was kind of silly, but it was a lot of fun.
And that, like, I had been kind of sitting on my ass, but Chris really got the ball rolling for these more regular events, just organizing it. I think just him alone got like another 30 people into the Smash group or something.
Chris, who I think you've interviewed already, he really tried to get his favorite game, Smash 64, started, and then the other guys started thinking, oh, why not? Like, let's do it for the games that we like. So that's how we kind of got this Melee one started. I know guys like Sam like stream and everything, and he's really putting his heart and soul into Smash 4, and he's going to get that one going too. So I feel like everyone wants to have fun together, but it takes a few like people to like kind of step up and like bring everything together, because everyone will help and contribute, but we just need that kind of spark to happen.
Whenever you create a community or a group of people that want to do something together, it's very important to bring together that energy. We haven't figured out the best way to do that yet because we're still in the beginning stages. We're getting more popular. People are talking and happy about what we're doing, but it's like it's not like delegation, because that's too strong of a term, but it's like understanding who can do what or who's talented in what and letting them go with it. Because that's one thing that I've noticed about the Smash community. There's like a lot of people who, even if they're not so proficient in Smash itself, they're excited about spreading the idea to other people. Like, I suck at Melee and Smash 4, I'm bad, but I am excited to bring more people together to have that competition.
With everyone spread out across Beijing, how do they even travel to 8-bit? Well, the main methods of transportation included bikes, buses, or the well-developed subway system. But be careful what you choose, because rush hour traffic is a time killer, and Sam might disqualify you if you're 5 minutes late.
We got our whole setup here. By our setup, I mean what I used to stream in my other gig as a Hearthstone streamer. We have, between all of the people who play Smash together, we have just enough of us to have maybe 60 people in our group or so. I'd say 4 is probably the most popular game, but we have a lot of 64 players too, and a decent number of Melee players as well. And we all support each other's games. I'm sure we'll have some Melee people coming out tonight. There were some Smash 4 people at the Melee tournament. You know, everyone shows up to 64. Like, we like Smash.
After several friendly get-togethers, the first official Smash 4 tournament in Beijing had begun. The venue, 8-bit, had filled up to a packed level, with friends and girlfriends cheering on their favorite competitor. Although starting with only 19 entries, they hailed from all over the world. Chris, also known as Conrad, would be paired unfortunately against the top 2 players in winners and losers brackets, and was unfortunately knocked out. Sam would fare better, making it several rounds into the tournament before he too was defeated by a Mega Man from RC.
The cripple has arrived!
At this point, Max had climbed up the tournament ladder and had been crushing his opponents. Only a Japanese player by the name of Ma would step forth to oppose him. But after several intense sets, in the end, Max had triumphed with his technical skill of the game and solid fundamentals that he had acquired from his Melee play. The Smash scene in Beijing had finally taken off into new directions. With its first Smash 4 tournament complete, a sense of growth and achievement had been felt.
Congratulations to everyone who came today because you played well, except for Max Mockers, who played better than all your dumb asses.
A thriving Smash community in Beijing had truly begun. Max would go on to place high in the following Melee and Smash 4 competitions, solidifying his dominance in the Beijing scene. It would seem that no one could defeat him.